Hello YouTube, and welcome back to the channel and back to the Mission Maker series, episode number 4 of our template. And today we're going to look at creating the Blue Force assets, airborne assets that we'll probably use for every mission. So such as, you know, the air-to-air tankers, AWACS and so on. Because of the type of missions that are probably going to happen over here, they're not really going to change too much, I would have thought. If they are, then we can always change them in those specific missions, but otherwise they'll be operating in their usual zones. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's put in some AWACS, shall we? Let's start there. So what we'll do is we'll probably have a north AWACS up here, a south one here, and then we'll have an E2 operating from the carrier probably out here over the med. I think that might be a good way to go about it. So let's do that. Let's start with our E2. So where are you? Is it E2? Yeah, E2D. And let's name him our Med AWACS Flight 1. And then let's go ahead and place him on the carrier, take off from runway. So he's going to be the first aircraft to take off as the mission starts, which is what we want to happen. So let's go ahead and have a look and see what we've got. Any skins for it? Yeah, we do. Got a few different skins. Nice. Ooh, some of these are quite good looking. What shall we have? That's quite nice, that one. I think this was an additional skin pack I found on the DCS. What do you call it? File library. So you probably want to go ahead and check that out yourselves. Let's go for that one. That one looks quite nice. Quite like the look of that. Okay, so we'll have our. Let's have our Med AWACS as Overlord. Okay, so we're going to have him fly out to here. Probably going to operate maybe at 20,000 feet. 380 knots ground speed. And then I'm going to have him fly a racetrack between these two waypoints, I think. If I know this. Let's move these about a bit. Because one thing that we'll probably have to, or what you'd probably be thinking about to be careful of, is this is probably a heavily, in real life, heavily operated area by the Russians, so you probably wouldn't want your asset too close, but still close enough. Then we can maybe put like a simulated cap flight in there. Or should just protect the AWACS. So that sounds like a plan. So let's go to a waypoint 1. Orbit and a racetrack. It's 330 knots. And let's put him on there. Just put him on there for 2 hours. And then after 2 hours, then he's going to come back and land there. So next we'll put a second one on, a second E2, which will again fly from the carrier, which can take off from the ramp, but this will be late activated. It's flight 2. So Overlord 2-1. This is the second AWACS, and we'll do the same. So that was the first one, wasn't it? So that'll be the second, which will work. And then what we'll do is we'll activate him once our first aircraft has returned, has landed. So let's again put it up to 20,000 feet. 330 knots. Ground speed. Back to waypoint 1. Add condition. No, orbit. Racetrack. 330 knots. Stop condition. Again, we'll put him up for 2 hours. And that should cover us for any duration of our mission. And hit to waypoint 2. Then send him back. Cool. Right, so trigger wise for it. Let's have a look. So this is going to be. How do I want to do it? I shouldn't need a flag for it. So let's call this the E2 AWACS Flight 2 trigger. I'll make it blue. So conditions, when do I want this aircraft to spawn in? So time-wise, time is more. So we know that 1 hour is 3,600 seconds. So let's say, what do I want as? 4,400, that's an hour and a half. How long is it going to take to get to waypoint 1? Half an hour. Yeah, so an hour and a half. Oh, I've just lost that, haven't I? Typical. E2 AWACS Flight 2. Let's make it. So time is more. Then 4,400, which I think is an hour and a half. Let's have a look. 90 minutes. Ooh, it's not. It's 5,400. I'm shocking at maths, as you can probably tell. Time is more than an hour and a half, so 5,400 seconds, and then we will group activate our Med AWACS 2. And that's it, simple as that. So after an hour and a half, our aircraft will then. Oh, actually, do I want it an hour and a half? No, I don't. I want it at 2 hours because it's half an hour there. So for the first aircraft, it's half an hour there. Then 2 hours on station, so that's 2.5 hours. So I want our second aircraft to depart. Yeah, 2 hours in. Good thinking, back to man. So it's going to be 7,200 seconds. Okay, that's better. Yeah, much better. Just make sure flight 1 is unticked. Flight 2 is cool. Happy there. Let's just make sure he's going to work properly. Just give it a save. Little savey bobs. Nice. So he's doing his thing. Cool. So that's our first AWACS done. So they're Overlord, aren't they? Yes. Now let's do our northern AWACS, which we'll set up here. So AWACS E3A. And let's have him orbiting right over here. So let's just call this North AWACS. Fly 1. Nope. Fly 1. And this guy can be. These guys can be magic flight. They're going to be up at 31,000 feet. 450 knots ground speed. which is fine. That looks nice enough. Cool. So let's have him. Now, do I want him orbiting in a circle or a racetrack? Let's have him in a racetrack. So 1, 2. Yep. So back to waypoint 1. Advanced orbit. Racetrack 450 knots. Again, he can be on station a bit longer, so I'll put him on station for 3 hours. And then I'll have him head for the exit. And the second one can spawn in. So from there to coalition exit. It's going to take 30 minutes from there. Okay, so that's fine. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. So let's put the second one in. So he's going to just come from the entry point. AWACS 32,000 feet this way. 4,500. With that 2, so he's going to take over. What did I have these down? Goes down as Magic Flight. So these can be Magic as well, but these will be Magic 2-1. Late activated. And skin wise, let's go for that one. Okay. And then I'm going to want him to come up to waypoint 1, 2. Waypoint 1, again we'll get him to start his orbit at 450 knots. Duration, now this is going to be 3 hours, again that should cover us for any of our missions. That's 6 hours worth of AWAC cover up there, which is good, it's all we need. Yes. Now we just need to trigger it. So let's do this. So north AWACS trigger. Let's make this guy blue. So time is more than so. Let me just get my handy calculator out. As you can tell, I am really bad at maths. 3,600 is an hour, times by 3 is 10,800 seconds. So but so 10,800 seconds is 3 hours. I'm taking 3.5 hours. So probably actually want him coming in. So let me just think about this. North Aerofly. So 3 hours at 3 hour point. He'll come down here roughly. So I want him to come in at 2.5 hours for that half an hour transit. Is it about half an hour transit? Yeah, about half an hour, which is fine. So yes, that's fine. So 10,800 minus 1,800 is going to be 9,000 seconds, isn't it? 9,000 seconds after 2.5 hours, this guy's going to spawn in, fly up there, boom, yep, okay, happy. That should cover us. Given how long these guys can be airborne for, it shouldn't be an issue. Next, I want to make sure that this AWACS will despawn, or deactivate, I should say, once it hits that spot there. So, north AWACS deactivate if unit is inside. So there's bloody loads of them, isn't there? North AWACS flight 1 is inside coalition exit, then group deactivate. North AWACS flight 1. Cool. So now when he gets into that spot there, he will deactivate and he'll no longer be present on the map, which is what we want. So next I'm going to have next I'm going to have the south AWACS like we discussed, or like I mentioned earlier. What I'll have them at different times, so maybe after like an hour and a half this one will pop out, then I'm going to have an RAF one come in and take over. Yeah, let's do that again. So so yeah, plonk him in there. Let's call this one South AWACS Flight 1. And this guy can be Wizard. And then where was that one? I should have a NATO one. There are some nice liveries for the NATO aircraft. I'm tempted to go with one of those, but I don't know if they operate over there. Probably not. I'll tell you who does operate over there. The Australians with their P7s. So let's have that bad boy flying around. Again, it'll still be Wizard 1-1, which is cool. I'll have him up at 31,000 feet, 450 knots ground speed, and so he can be flying right along the border. Delete that one, let's see if we can go a bit further. Yeah, okay, which will work fine. And had a condition, no, orbit, racetrack, 450 knots, stop condition. So say after 1 hour and 45 minutes. And then we'll have him leave the area and coalition exit, head back to Al Dafra. Okay, so yep, that's fine. Yeah, happy. Okay, so then let's have UK AWACS. Now these have actually just gone out of service. They are going to be replaced by the E7. Is it the E7? Can't remember what I just said. Take off from ramp. Now I'm going to have this one as uncontrolled. Okay, so flight 2, which means that it'll be there throughout any point. Perform command start. So we need to add that trigger there that we can use to tell the aircraft to start. And he's taken off from ramp. Cool. And then he can be Solex 1. I'll have him as 2 because he's going to be the second flight. So given the way that these aircraft have to operate into the airspace, I'm going to come down to here. I'm going to be up at 32,000 feet, 450 knots. So, yes, after 45 minutes. Nope, I'm lying. Let's just get him doing his thing first. Add command from task, orbit. Ratio 450 knots, stop condition. Let's have him up there for 4 hours. 3 hours actually. 3 hours, because then he's got the transit back as well. We have to take into account for fuel, which is fine. So back down there, 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 and then back into Akrotiri. Landing. Make sure that uncontrol does not go unticked. Excuse me. So it's going to take my AWACS 55 minutes to get to that waypoint. 55 minutes. Okay, so I'm just making a note of that. Now I've got my Aussie AWACS flying his orbit for 1 hour 45. So I need to minus that. So that's then going to be what? 50 minutes into the mission is when I want my RAF AWACS to start up. Is that right? Yeah, okay, so let's just do that. South AWACS Flight 2. Time is more than 3,000 seconds. Then group activate. Nope. AI push. It's pushed this time because he's at an uncontrolled AI. So, and then this time we want to South AWACS deactivate if a unit is inside zone. So South AWACS Flight 1 is inside there, and group deactivate. South Flight 1. Cool. And that should be it for our AWACS, I think. Should do the job. I'd like to hope so anyway. Yeah, that'll be fine. So next, let's put in. Now these aircraft I haven't managed to get them to actually do anything specifically, but it adds to the mission itself. So where are they? The joint rivets. So let's put these boys in. So the coalition entry. Rivet joint flight 1. Because these guys can't actually do anything, as in their intended role of ELINT kind of work. There is a mod for it and a script, but I haven't figured out how to get the script working yet. I'm hopeless at scripts. So I'm going to have these doing nothing. They're purely just for show, to fly about doing nothing really. Okay, just going to add. So I'll have these as 9-1. I'm going to have it late activated. I think it's going to be at 30,000 feet, 450 knots. what these aircraft do is they effectively just try and listen to what's going on electronically and work out what's what. So this is kind of the route that I want it to fly. It's almost like a big ear listening to what's going on. So you don't have to have anything like this, and I like to have it just a different aircraft on the map, and it just adds a bit to it, I think. Three and a half hours, and then head for the exit, I think. Excuse me. Sure. Yeah. So then let's put the triggers in. Make it blue. Rivet joint. Spawn. No, time is more. Let's say, I don't know, 25 minutes, which should give you enough time to get into the operating area. 1500 seconds. Group activate. Rivet joint flight 1. And then clone. Deactivate if unit is inside zone. I got way past it. Yep. Exit. And group deactivate. And Rivet flight 1. Again, it just adds a bit something there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide that. Don't need to see him for this. That's fine. Okay, cool. So I think that probably covers us for our airborne detection capabilities, I think. So that should be okay. What we'll do in the next episode is we'll look at the air-to-air refueling setup and how we have to think about what aircraft are operating from where and where we're going to place them so that our aircraft don't all of a sudden have to divert because they've got no fuel left. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. I hope you found this useful. Maybe picked up one or two tips on how to do things. Probably not. But if you enjoyed it, please give us a like and subscribe. And I shall see you next time. Thank you. Goodbye.